Hello everyone, Tim and Gamer here, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you another one of my FIFA 15 tutorials. Now today's video is going to be following a video that I did in a similar mold to this for FIFA 14, where I sit down and run you through a full game where I'm talking about what I'm thinking, the way I'm responding to an opponent, the things I'm looking at in game, all of that good stuff. So the best place to start off with that is telling you what I'm looking for. This is a Gold Cup game. As you can see, it's a 2000 tournament bonus. It's one of the first tournaments available in Ultimate Team, and it's a tournament with no entry requirements at all. So as expected, I'm probably going to run into a great team here, and that's the way it turns out. I've got a team who already has Ronaldo in it in the first week of the game. So in this situation, there's only two possibilities. It's that the guy has spent an insane amount of money on packs, or got really lucky, or he's played it a ridiculous amount already. So immediately, you've got to be prepared to be running into somebody very, very decent. So starting off, the first thing I do, and to be honest, the first thing I do in a lot of my games is go defensive counter-attacking. And what this does is it keeps you so much more compact in the middle of the park. It stops your fullbacks from just roaming upfield, which is something I desperately want to avoid in this formation. And as you can see, the guy very nearly scores. Probably should have scored 1 minute into the game pretty much. He tore me apart, but fortunately for me, missed with Alvaro Negredo. And this is a big warning for me already, that this guy is no scrub. He's no person who's just spent £300 on packs. He's actually a decent player. So now that we've established that, you have to keep it very, very tight early on. We've seen that he already created a chance very early on into the game. It's really important that I keep it tight, because the last thing you want to do in Ultimate Team, especially against a team of this quality, is go 2-3 goals down, because then basically you're not coming back into it. As long as I can keep myself in the game, I have a big chance of winning this eventually. I probably should have had a penalty there, but it was a 50-50. It's one of them. You're not going to throw the toys out the pram for that. But potentially I could have had a penalty there. But already I'm showing that I can open this guy up. I've had a good little run down the right with Remy. I've nearly slotted Wilfried Boney in very, very early. And now I'm beginning to earn myself a little bit of action in his final third. And this is very, very important. Keeping the play in the right part of the pitch is very, very useful. Because you see, especially against a team like this, players go into their shell far too much, and they'll start playing really safe passes, or they think safe passes, along their back four. And there's certainly a time and a place to keep the ball, but the last thing you want to do is draw pressure onto yourself. If you're just knocking the ball aimlessly along the back four, eventually they're going to try and put pressure on you, and if you lose the ball in that key area, you're in a lot of trouble. Fortunately, I don't do that, and I actually start to defend a lot better than I do early on in the game. Ronaldo occasionally is going to burst away, but eventually I get players across and keep him down, and then this is where the counter-attack really comes in. Playing against a team this good, you need to keep it tight, but with that counter-attack option on, you can see I automatically stride forward and end up earning myself a penalty, and that is why I put counter-attack on so many times, pretty much every single game, because the transition between defence and attack is so important in FIFA, and if you can get that ball upfield before his defence has had time to solidify and set itself, you're going to have a very, very good time. So step up with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and fingers crossed, I put it in. And there we go. That's a really good penalty. And I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial on penalties where I talk about the best place to put it. And in my opinion, that is the best place to put it. Because if a keeper stands still, like we saw him do there, he's not going to get it. But if he dives, he's going to dive past the ball as well. So it's a really good spot to put a penalty in. And it puts me up 1-0. Very, very good. And this is a little bit of a harsh yellow card here. I was hustling with Loic Remy, and this is one of the reasons why I like Loic Remy so much, is you can really hustle players who are on the ball, and if you do win the ball back, you've got the pace to run clear and have a shot on target. So definitely defending starts from the front on this, and you can see again, I'm chasing players down with Remy. I'm trying to leave my midfield as compact as possible. I'm switching to defenders only when it's completely necessary to try and get a block in, or to try and close down an angle. And most of the time, what I'm trying to do is control a midfield player, run him back into the space, try and keep it nice and tight, and then when I'm in this position again, where I've got a little bit of an opportunity to spray forward, I'll do that. And I have a shot with Ibrahimovic because nothing else is on, but again, it's another chance on target. And then back to basics again. Sit back, nice and deep, keep the pressure on in midfield. try and win the ball back in a safe position. And this is a safe position there. You saw that guy was twisting and turning. He wasn't really going anywhere. He had 3 or 4 defenders around him, 3 or 4 of my players, keeping the pressure on. And this is what I'm trying to do again. I'm trying to make sure that he has an unbelievably difficult ball to play through to give himself a chance. And I pass out really, really nicely here. And I remember this is such a slick counter-attack. And again, you see the benefit of having counter-attack on, because my players are getting forward so quickly. I've gone from basically the ball being at my keeper's feet to getting the ball in the box and having an opportunity on goal in a very short space of time. And this is why counter-attack is so important. I'm going to keep referring back to this during the video, but it's just absolutely vital. And I'm pretty much controlling the play here. This guy has got Ronaldo in his team, he's got PK, he's got all of these talented players, but I'm comfortably on top in this stage of the game, and this is really, really nice. I've bedded myself in the game. The guy's having a few chances, but he hasn't really had a clear-cut chance since the very first move of the match, where he did do very, very well. He unlocked me a little bit and had a decent opportunity to score. So overall, you're going to be very, very happy with this. Once you're in the game, you can begin to get the ball down and knock it around. Early doors, it's very, very good in my opinion to keep it safe, and if you need to, play a little bit more direct, because the last thing you want to do is, like I've just done here, I lost the ball and it left me a little bit exposed because I've been knocking the ball around a little bit. I've moved midfielders up the pitch, and as you can see, when I lost the ball in that position, it required a good bit of defending from Ron Vlaar to bail me out of problems. So again, defending really, really well. This was one of the highlights of the first half for me. It was my defending. I had that one little shaky start right at the beginning, and that was just a dreadful throw from Sanya, and I completely got away with that. But overall, I've defended very, very solidly, and a lot of that is because of the defensive counter-attacking again, but a lot of that is also with my formation. I'm playing a 4-1-2-1-2, but with a central defensive midfielder and 2 midfielders, central midfielders either side of him, so it's really solid in the middle. And because I'm not playing on balanced or attacking, my fullbacks naturally just sit in a little bit deeper, so I have a very, very compact middle of the field, and if they try and spray the play wide, I've got fullbacks in position to defend. So I'm very, very happy with the way this formation sets you up, because when you are against really, really highly rated teams, it's a great option to keep yourself very, very tight. And this guy is now in a little bit of a conundrum, because as you can see, 3-5-2, it really relies on getting your central attacking midfielder on the ball to create chances, and if that doesn't happen, you're in a little bit of problems. And you can see what's happening here. You know, most of the time, the central attacking midfielder doesn't have any time on the ball. You can see he gave the ball away in that last move, and eventually the guy just ended up running at me with a striker, and I managed to jockey him, hold him up, and eventually win the ball back. But you know, all the time, whenever he's on the ball, I'm trying to put a little bit more pressure on him, and this is one of the subtle changes that I've had from FIFA 14, because the way I used to defend in 14 was I used to get everybody in behind the ball, stay nice and tight, cover the spaces a lot with all of my midfielders, and ensure that it was really hard for him to break me down. And you know, that is the theory, but unfortunately Ronaldo BS took over, and I was really, really annoyed with that goal, because I defended so well for the entirety of the half, and then in the 45th minute, he passes it into Ronaldo's feet, and he basically shrugs my guy off like he's not even there. I won the ball twice in that engagement, but then Ronaldo just used to roll through and get the ball back, and that was incredibly, incredibly frustrating. Fortunately for me, I do that, which is quite nice, and this is why I want to try and put as much pressure on the ball as possible in that midfield area, because one of the major changes from FIFA 14 to FIFA 15 is the improved dribbling, and Loic Remy doesn't have incredible dribbling by any stretch of the imagination, but even so, I've managed to absolutely tear him apart there. So when you're up against Ronaldo, and we've just seen what Ronaldo can do, but when you're up against Ronaldo, you have to put pressure on the ball a lot earlier, because if you sit back and sit back and sit back and let him just run towards you and have a shot or try and beat a player, that's when you're going to have a lot of problems. And the reason why I was so happy with the way I defended in that first half was because the vast majority of time my opponent had zero space on the ball. You saw again there, he picks the ball up, he immediately has 3 players in front of him, he tries, I'm not even sure what he tried, to be honest, you'd have to ask him that, but tried something which didn't really work and gave the ball back. And you see again here, my opponent picks the ball up in the right back position, I'm running my central attacking midfielder, in to try and put a bit of pressure on. He goes past 2 players, not the end of the world, and I try and stand him up with a centre-back, and eventually weight of numbers just takes over, because I'm running all of my midfielders back to keep the pressure on, and this is the slight subtle difference. I'm not just charging them back to cover space anymore, I'm charging them off to try and pressure the ball as much as possible. So that happens. He has to beat 4 players to have an opportunity to do anything really threatening, and this is the only occasion where you sit back. You know, he broke. None of my midfielders are in position, so I'm just sitting back with my CDM. Then I win the ball back nice and easily. I hold him up as long as I can, and then I launch another counter-attack and manage to slip another striker through. So, unfortunately missed the chance. But again, you see the defending in theory. It works. It really, really does work. And one of my major strengths is in FIFA for a number of years now has been my ability to defend really well. And this is something you have to be very, very wary of. Whenever you're playing online, you need to immediately, at the start of the game, have a look who are the major threats in their team. Obviously, it was Ronaldo, there were Hamšík, all of these players in the team, very, very threatening. They all have incredible dribbling. You need to stay very compact, put that pressure on, and prevent them from having a free run at your back four. It sounds very, very obvious, but when you're playing FIFA, there's a massive temptation to just gung-ho slide in and get the ball back with a great thumping challenge. It's not really the most efficient way to do it. You've seen the amount of times I've won the ball back without really having to do anything outlandish. All I'm doing is I'm just running people in the way, and you see there, I didn't have to do anything insane. I was just running the players up, letting him run into a little bit of a channel, into a gully, and as soon as he got to that cul-de-sac moment, he tried something, it didn't happen, I just knocked the ball off him, and then I could launch my own attack. And this is definitely the best way to defend, in my opinion. But I've talked enough about defence. Now let's talk a little bit about attack. You've already seen a couple of really nice moves and really nice chances, and for me that's another penalty right there. How is that not a foul? But yeah, again, you see just how effective it is and easy it is to create chances. I'm playing a formation which gives me a lot of options in midfield to pass the ball around. And the great thing is, I love playing with a central attacking midfielder and 2 strikers, because it means that as long as you get a couple of midfielders forward, and because I'm playing with 2 centre mids, that isn't a massive problem. Overhit that with Sanya very, very slightly, but you can create so much off the ball movement. You can really zip the ball around, and because in FIFA 15 the passing's been improved, it's definitely worthwhile. You know, I'm looking for that short give and go all the time, and yeah, it doesn't work every now and again, but it's always on. This little dink over the top is a massively effective ploy, and again, he just gets away with that. You know, he was so lucky not to score there. Put the cross in, he just managed to tip it out of Remy's way. The ball dropped to me in the area a couple of times, I couldn't get a shot off. It was one of them. I'm creating so many chances here, and all of my chances are following a similar pattern. You know, I'm picking the ball up, I'm either trying to do a pressure relieving ball like to Ibrahimovic there, but when I'm knocking it around, I'm always looking for that fast pass. I don't want to dwell on the ball, I'm always looking to do something again. And again there, you know, the guy broke through, but he broke through at an angle, closed him down with Ron Vlaar. Very, very easy defending again there. He did have a shot, but it was from a narrow angle, unlikely to score. So all of these things are going in my favour here. And Ronaldo's offside, so don't worry about that. But whenever you look at my attacking play, it's always about short passing. I do like to pass the ball around. I do like to spray it around as much as possible. You can see I get my players on the ball in midfield. I'm immediately trying to do a give and go and get them out of the way, because it's very congested in this midfield. If you have a look, I've got 4 midfielders basically in the centre of the field. He's playing a 3-5-2, so he's got 3 midfielders in the centre of the field. So what you're looking to do in this sort of situation is not dwell on the ball for as much as you can. Obviously, there's going to be situations where you need to put your foot on it, take your time, walk it upfield a little bit and have a look around. But you've seen, I've tore him apart a lot of times. This is the quick give and goes. I'm trying to shift the emphasis of the attack as often and as quickly as possible. And you know, just by doing this, you can pull players out of position, and this is exactly what's happened there. I've managed to get a shot with Moussa Dembele and just put it wide, but the reason why I could do that is because Ibra held the ball up really well. He drew like 2 or 3 players towards him, and then it was 2 quick passes, and I had a huge amount of space for Moussa Dembele, and that's just a terrible clearance on the guy. Take the chance, and 3-1, and I've been very, very comfortable. I don't think there's any arguing in saying that I've been very comfortable this game. The one goal I conceded, sorry, was Cristiano Ronaldo just having a Ronaldo moment. That's going to happen. It is FIFA, just as in real life, Ronaldo will occasionally do something unbelievable and you'll concede. It happened in FIFA. You know, he rolled my defender basically 3 times and had a nice finish. Apart from that, my opponents only really had half chances. I've created a lot of chances, and a lot of chances that I really should have scored more. Hit the post with Remy, missed a chance with Dembele. Had a lot of the ball in very, very dangerous areas. And when you compare that to my opponent, he had that chance literally with the first move of the game. Then he's had the goal when he got a bit lucky with Ronaldo. And then after that, he hasn't really created that much. And that's a really, really good thing, you know. FIFA, occasionally, you'll see a game where it's like a 6-4 and it'll be end-to-end and there'll be a ridiculous number of goals scored. But for me, I always take a lot more pleasure in a 2-0 win. Unfortunately, I'm not going to win 2-0 this game because Gerard Piqué gets a run at the back post against Bacary Sagna, and I do make a small mistake here. I accidentally switch away from Bacary Sagna because this was a game when I hadn't turned off auto switch and I forgot about it. So it did switch to somebody else, then I tried to switch to get it to Sagna, not realising that it had actually already switched to Bacary Sagna. So that was a little bit of a mistake on my part, but there wasn't really too much I could have done there. Gerard Piqué in the air against Bacary Sagna with a run on. There's not much you can do there. So this has now made it very, very interesting. There's not long to go in the game. All of a sudden, having been very, very comfortable, I'm now only a goal down, a goal ahead. So if I do concede here, it's going to be very, very sad Panda times because I have not deserved at all to even draw this game. I've deserved to win, but fortunately again, covering block from Aaron Ramsey, great block, running my midfielders back to cover the space, doing really, really well defensively, and he has struggled to break me down, and I didn't actually realise the goalkeeper's up here, so I was like, oh, let's just pass it around. It's like, oh, that's the goalkeeper. I should have shot from inside my own half, but never mind. Again, step up with Ron Vlaar, put the challenge in, put the tackle in, try and put pressure on, always harassing his midfielders, trying to make him have to play that killer ball to break me down. And now I've got the ball back, I can just slow it down a little bit, try and find a kick away, and that was a little bit poor. I should have found Ibra there, but that diagonal kick, which was one of my favourite tactics in FIFA 14 actually. You can kick the ball into the channel and a striker can pick it up on the halfway line in a lot of space. It still definitely works in FIFA 15. It's a really good pressure reliever. And again, just a few beautiful passes, and what a finish that is from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Lobbed it into the top corner for a nice 4-2 win. So this now has pretty much wrapped the game up. The opponent has basically no opportunity to bring this back, and this is a lovely goal. Great little ball through by Coutinho and a first time chip. The keeper was storming out of his goal there, and it was a relatively easy finish in the end. But now the game's coming to an end, you can see how important it is to keep thinking about the same things all the time. You have to drill it into your head, close him down, cover that space, counter-attack, short passing, pass and move, watch out for Ronaldo. Every single game you have to go through this. You need to have your core ideas, and my core ideas are always passing, movement, counter-attacking, trying to score nice flowing goals, quickly looking to create chances, and a nice solid defence. And you need to adapt them to the formation your opponent's playing, the personnel he has, the game situation. And if you can begin to do that, eventually it will start to come naturally. You know, when I'm playing a game of FIFA now, I don't think, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. It comes naturally. And if I make a mistake or I realise something, it will twig that, oh, he's getting a lot of space with his fullbacks, etc., etc. Then I need to deal with that. So if you can get into that situation where a lot of it comes naturally to you, you're going to be having a lot of success. Because at the end of the day, if you can sit there and in the first 5 minutes of the game know exactly how a player's formation is going to impact on yours, you can identify the strongest players on his team, and you can judge your opponent's skill level, you're going to be already miles ahead of most of the people on FIFA. Because a lot of people on FIFA, they just plunge into a game, they don't even think about it, they don't really look at their opponent's team or formation that much, and they just go out and lose a game and don't really think about why. If you can get into the habit of sitting down and thinking and analysing why you're doing things and really learning about your trade, you can do so well on FIFA. And these sorts of tutorials are ideal for all sorts of players, but I aim this sort of tutorial for that sort of guy who is decent at FIFA but has a lot of frustrating losses and doesn't understand why. this sort of tutorial is one of the reasons why I do my videos, to try and help those guys understand why you might be losing, the things you can do better, how to defend better, how you're looking to score goals, and hopefully you've learned some of those things and had a good time. So once again, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Really hope you've enjoyed it, really hope you've learned something, and as always, have a great day.